Hi there everyone, welcome back to my channel at Living a Sustainable and Happy Lifestyle. This is now video 3. Now from the previous video I was going through the situation about being environmentally conscious about energy efficiency. Now on this topic it's going to be going into alternative forms of energy, but also on your central heating system. Now, I know a lot of you will be still thinking that I'm going into a lot of details, but this is the video for anyone from a toddler right the way up to grandparents. So with the central heating system, I personally am really cautious with central heating. I don't actually put the central heating on until it's 10 degrees Celsius outside. So, some people might think, oh God, that's a bit nippy, But remember, in the house, it's going to be warmer than that. But the outside temperature being 10 degrees Celsius. Now, what I do during the winter is when the sun's out, first thing in the morning, I open up all the blinds in the house, or if you haven't got blinds, curtains, because that lets the heat of the sun into the house. And the other thing is that I've got blinds and I can point the blinds at an angle to actually direct the lighting into the house by purely changing the blinds, which makes the house lighter or darker. So to light up the house, so you don't need any lighting so early in the morning, especially in the winter mornings. Now, with the rooms in the house, during the winter I keep all doors closed. That's the door, of course, the front door, of course the porch door, but all the doors like for the bathroom, the toilet, the bedrooms, the kitchen, the lounge, all the doors are kept closed. So the reason why I do this is because I only put the heating on in the rooms which I'm in. Why heat a room up when you're not in that room? So purely just put the radiator up. I've got a thermostat on my radiator. I put the thermostat up when I'm in the room. When I'm in or out of the room, I turn it down to what is like a star, which is below. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the thermostat, and I turn it to star. Now, when it gets really cold in the winter, even when it's on star, it has a background heat on. So you still get warmth coming through the radiators even with a star. Now, I do turn the heating off in the evening after bedtime, purely because why have the central heating on in the house when you're not actually awake? So I basically turn the heating on as soon as I get up in the morning, then I'll turn the heating on, as long as it's 10 degrees Celsius or below. Now, what I also do during the really cold part of the winter, I actually do keep the heating on overnight. If it's going to be reaching about 1 degrees, 2 degrees Celsius, so that outside, when it gets below freezing, I'm in the situation where I don't want my pipes to burst or crack because of the cold temperature and the water freezing. Now remember, inside the house it's always going to be warmer inside the house than outside in the garden or outside. But I always do this, where if I know it's going to be below freezing, I do keep the central heating on overnight. So that's energy efficiency with your heating system. Now, what I am going to go into also with this video is alternative forms. Now, there's a ground heat recovery system which can be used where you drill a bore into the ground below your property, below your garden, and the heat from underneath the ground gets extracted and then gets brought into the house Now that is a very expensive form of heating, but in the long run, it's efficient. But the initial outlay is extremely expensive. It's more expensive than putting in a gas boiler, let's say that, with a central heating system. So that's ground heat recovery system. Now the other one is solar paneling. So you put a solar panel in on any outbuildings or solar paneling on your roof to be able to extract the energy from the sun by producing electricity, and then it goes into a battery and stores in the battery, and then when it's on shady days or rainy days and there's not so much electricity being able to produce by the solar panels, then of course it gets used up from the batteries, which is the storage system for the electricity. Now with modern day solar panels, they still produce electricity even on, shady days and cloudy days because they're actually gathering energy from purely light rather than the actual sunlight. So that's solar panel systems. Now there are other forms. There's wind vanes producing electricity. That's another form. I mean, if you've probably not got a big waterfall in your back garden, but there is a small scale hydroelectricity systems, which is basically producing electricity from water going through sluice gates and then basically powering a turbine. But that's on a bigger scale, to be honest. And then I'm just trying to figure out, there's hydro, which is pretty much not really for the average person in a way, for the average house. Not unless, like I say, you got a huge waterfall, you got a huge water system like within your property. And that would have to be a huge property to be able to make enough electricity from hydroelectricity. Then we've done solar panel systems. Then we've done ground heat recovery systems. Now, and then we've also done wind vanes to generate electricity as well. Now, the other thing is, it's not necessarily an energy thing, but it's a consuming groundwater harvesting. It's water which hits your tiles on your roof, then can go down into your guttering. And instead of that going down into the main sewer and basically flushing away, there's a system where you can produce a reservoir deep underneath, not a reservoir, but a huge tank, either in your back garden or somewhere around the perimeter of your garden, where a tank can be put in. And it doesn't necessarily have to be huge, because remember, this is only water which is going to be used for your property and no one else's. And this grey water harvesting, which is known as, then gets basically diverted from the gutters, even from your driveway, even from your runoff in your back garden, can then go into like this tank, and all that water can be stored. And then you wouldn't necessarily use this water as showering with or coming out the taps, but it could be used for flushing your toilet, or it can be used for watering your garden. So to connect a hose pipe to it and then pump the water from that and use it on your garden for during the summertime. So that's another form of sort of trying to conserve our natural resources. Now, I am really trying to rack my brains now, because I'm trying to go through what else there is I can talk about on this subject. And I pretty much think that, as far as I know, I've covered everything. Apart from one thing, design of your property. Now, there's a lot of properties out there who are not really that efficient with energy. Now, what I'm talking about is having windows, or the biggest windows, being south facing. so that you heat the house without having to use the central heating so much. And maybe, yes, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, but due south is the best position. Now, bigger windows means that you produce more energy to heat up the house. Now, when you come to the summertime, you're probably thinking you want the opposite. Now, what the opposite would be a roof which hangs over the house. So it has a 1 meter plus overhang, which means that when the sun is high during the summertime, the sun does not penetrate in the house because you've got this huge overhang over your property and over your windows, which means that you don't get scorched and heated up in the summer. But it means that during the winter times, the sun is lower. So those overhangs of those roofs, it doesn't matter because the sun's lower. And even though the sun's not so strong, it still allows the sun to penetrate into the house. So that's another system to design to making your property more environmentally friendly. Now, I really am struggling because I'm now trying to figure out what else is there I can cover. Now, I didn't cover this in my last video. My last video was basically talking about the previous video, the first video, which is reusing, reducing, recycle, upcycle. Now, the other thing I always talk about is if you've got items in your house and you've had them in your house for 5 years and you're not using them, give them to a charity shop. Or if you haven't got a charity shop near you or you want to make a bit of money, go down the car boot, sell them at a car boot and make a bit of money, get that money back and buy on things which you do use. So, pretty much just doing a little cleanse in the house, whether it be in the garage, the attic, the garden, anywhere, in your storage unit if you got one. Just sell everything up at a car boot. Now, the other thing is if you're in the situation where you want to buy stuff, maybe think about buying stuff from one of those thrift shops. Like you get those flea markets, yeah, you go around those shops and they pretty much have a lot of good stuff at a very reasonable price. Now, I know some of the vintage stuff does get a bit expensive, especially if it's rarer stuff. But, when it's just things like day-to-day usage things, I bet you could buy those items either in a thrift shop, a flea market, or even a charity shop. So maybe think about buying something which has already been manufactured, something which is going to be reused, rather than buying something which has to be manufactured and is brand new. So maybe think about that when you're buying stuff, because if you're buying from a charity shop, you're putting money into the charity's pot, for one thing. You're also reusing, and you're also reducing the manufacturing costs. Now, I'm pretty much coming to the end of this video, so I pretty much am going to be struggling about what I can be talking about next. But what I'm going to start talking about next will probably be about the well-being of ourselves. Because remember, this video is about living a sustainable and happy lifestyle. So that will probably be my next video. It's like how to feel good within ourselves and our way of thinking and our thought patterns. But anyway, I'm going to get off now. Be positive, act positive, think positive, and it doesn't cost anything to be nice. Take care of each other, look after yourself, and I'm out of it. Have a good day, everyone. Take care. Bye.